Watkunuradu, and welcome to today's political update. Today is June 15th. We're getting real close to the official start of summer, and the 15th is also World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and that's why we're wearing these purple ribbons in commemoration of that. And again, think about it. Our elders, especially in our culture, are everything, and so you should be considering your actions if you're one of those who doesn't take care to treat your elders properly. On today's update, we're going to talk about a couple of issues. We'll start off with Chief Bob Patton. Very recently, there was some news in terms of work that gets done every year with the Canadian Pacific tracks, which run through Kahnawake. Every year they do some safety maintenance with vegetation. This year there was a little bit of an issue, as some community members we wanted the spraying stopped. What can you tell us?
Well, it seems like every year for the last few years has been an issue with the spraying. Well, it's a concern, and it's a valid concern. Everybody has their right to, because of the herbicides. You know, everybody believes in herbicides are dangerous, harmful to our people and children, and whatever it may be. But CP has taken initiative to try to lessen the dangers of these herbicides, try to make it more manageable. But the issue still remains that some community members don't want this to happen at all. But we have to look at, what is it for, and the benefits. First, yeah, we don't agree with herbicides and stuff, the issue with it, but we also have to look at the dangers if we don't spray. You know, like we all remember that Lac Megantic, the derailment, and if we don't spray, the growth of these weeds will cause, damage to the tracks, will loosen the tracks, and that will cause a possible derailment. So it's a lesser of two evils, I find. But in the meantime, with discussions with community members and with CP and with our safety working group, we've came up with a solution. I think it's going to be beneficial for to move forwards in the future, and will, lessen the chances of protest. Because right now, like we've asked CP about having community representation now. We created a working group along with CP, community members, and the MCK, that we can work forwards to try to find a better solution to herbicides. Because our community members, it's Jeremiah Johnson and Sonia Cross, they had some very good ideas. And, like we said, we need to bring these ideas to CP and let them try to, investigate the better solutions. And I think our community members are happy that they're involved now with the spraying and the future. And you look at it on the bigger picture, if we can come up with something on our community and come up with a better solution, that may go right across Canada. And I think that could be a start of something new and beneficial to everybody across Canada. So it's the first of its kind, really.
Well, the working group will be set up, and I guess over the course of the year, they'll have a chance. I know Environment Protection has always hoped that there would be some alternatives rather than the herbicides, which, by the way, are these are regulated very strongly by the federal government. These ones are approved herbicides, and they're done in the minimal amounts that are, and all the safety precautions are taken. But the fact is, people in the area especially have always been concerned. So maybe there will be an alternative that comes up. And in the meantime, for this year anyway, it looks like the spraying will continue.
That's right. It's going to happen. And I think with the understanding throughout Canada, here within the area that we have to do, CP has narrowed the use of it, and they're trying to take into much of our concerns and trying to work with the community as best as possible to lessen the dangers. So they're doing their best, and we're going to try to do our best. So we're working on both levels. So I think we've done a great job, and with the community members, I think they're happy with the advancement on how it's going to move forward in the future.
All right, thanks, Bob. Stick around for a second. We've got more. But in the meantime, Chief Billy Dibo joins us. And Bill, I know for the first part of the term it was a little quieter, but boy, things have picked up. You've been to, I think, 2-3 meetings a week on your main portfolio, which is the border crossing. Lots has happened recently, and even the Mikinaks have come into this picture, so to speak. What can you tell us about the most recent developments?
Basically what it is, the most recent developments is with the Mikinak cards, something that's been tied up. I've been meeting with CBSA quite a few times on it. And in start, like you said, when the Mikinak card first had started, I had sent the information to the borders that these cards are illegal. I mean, everything we're following up with, everything that tying into it, that's exactly what's happening. And what it is, it's infringing on our rights on every way, shape, or form. I've been involved on several vehicle tax frauds in town. Also, I've been tied in with 2 tax frauds from KahnawakeTV. Also, there's one possibility of one that's under investigation, as far as I understand, in Joe Delaronde. So, which is touching on both of my portfolios on that part and assisting with everything that's going on. It is really important that we get these things taken care of, because these people are absolutely infringing on our rights. Some of them maybe don't understand it, but the thing of it is that in working with KMPG, who is a tax law firm that is investigating tax frauds, is dealing with this. And in fact, they've been at the Peacekeepers, and then my information was given because of my involvement with the borders, my involvement with Joe Delaronde, and my involvement with KahnawakeTV. So we've been tidying into a lot. And I know everybody's been seeing the documents that were in the Gazette and everything that's tied into it. So to me, it's really important for us and people that are out there that do see these things and actually report it is something we need to do, because I've been in several meetings with CBSA. I've also been in meetings with Homeland Security on this. This is a big issue.
CBSA is the Canadian Border Services
Yes, it
Agency,
is.
which is kind of like what Homeland Security does.
For the American side.
Yeah, on the Canadian side. So, and also one of the things we don't talk about very often is when it comes to the Mikinaks, and I know people in Kahnawake really get upset, but and rightfully so, because it's causing problems when people are shopping somewhere.
Absolutely.
Where one of the persons with the Mikinak card will show up, and quite often they're belligerent and very rude to some of the staff, saying, you have to take this card, and actually they don't. And what happens is then when our people go there, it becomes a bit of a problem, because they say well, we're not going to take any cards, even though legally they need to take ours.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to me, that's the biggest infringement on our rights, is everybody here in Kahnawake, when we go places, because we're 0700, that's listed 070701, they're supposed to be taking it. That deal was made for Kahnawake alone. Right now, with them doing it, the Mikinak cards, and Lord knows where they're coming from. But right now, what's going on with the whole thing with that is that we're making arrangements to send out the information again to all the businesses in the area and everything like that. I re-updated the borders on it, Homeland Security. There was several seizures at both sides, and I am working with KMPG to get that information to them. And actually, I'll be meeting with them, I believe, next week. And they'll be coming here on a lot of the situation, because they feel it's very important too. Because KMPG, who was hired by INAC to deal with this, so everybody's finally taking this serious, and this is a very, very big thing that's infringing on everything that we need to be worried about.
All right, so I know you've been busy, so keep up the good work, and I'm sure we'll be talking more in the very near future. All right, thanks, Bill. So let's bring Bob back in here, and Bob, I know coming up in the next week or so, you're going to be heading off to the big city of Tyendinaga, and it's the Iroquois Caucus. So what's going on this time?
Well, there's several issues, really. The major one that we're facing right now is we call it the harvesting issue, because it's impacting all our traditional inherent rights as First Nations people. Some people may not think it's a big issue, but if this, it's concerning the 7 hunters of Akwesasne got arrested in New Brunswick, but as we found out, there's also an additional hunters from Nova Scotia that were also arrested, who were Mi'kmaq, also arrested in New Brunswick. The issue is that New Brunswick is creating this border and saying that any other First Nations peoples are not allowed to hunt within this territory, which is extinguishing our rights as First Nations. But if this case goes through, in which the New Brunswick government They want to take this and they want to have it a high level and have a Supreme Court decision. So if that decision goes through and it impacts us and we don't defend this is where the harvesting group is trying to move and get the support from all First Nations so we can defend it and protect our people, our rights and our interests. So we can win this case, and that's what our goal is, to try to win it, not to have it as stay, but to win it and have it finally in court record saying that we as First Nations, as Iroquois people, have the right to hunt freely without being harassed by anyone, by provincial regulations. The purpose why we're so defensive on this is because if this happens, every other province is going to follow. And that's what our fear is. If New Brunswick can do it, Ontario's going to do it. Then it's going to happen throughout. Then it's going to restrict all our First Nations from hunting anywhere in Canada.
The worry, of course, is we've seen what happened with the gas tax retailers taking it to court. This one, though, is a little bit different, it seems.
Well, this really impacts our rights as First Nations, because our rights as First Nations goes back to immemorial, right? And this is who we are. I mean, like everything that we practice in our traditions is based on the hunting, the fishing, the plants, the wildlife, everything that we believe in is going to be impacted. So that's why we need to really stand up and defend it. And for me personally, I'm very passionate about defending our rights and our interests, because my grandson, my grandchildren, and their children are, they may need to depend on those resources in the future. So that's what we're protecting.
And it's something you do, and you hunt and fish. Bill, who's just on here, does it as well, and not just for fun. I mean, it's for sustenance.
Well, that's right. I've been hunting and fishing for many, many years, and I look at it as when I do hunting and trapping and fishing, I don't just do it for myself. I also do it for the community, because we do share amongst the community ourselves, and we give it out to the community, and we don't charge or nothing, because that's a gift that's given to us, and now we share it amongst our people. And that's what we need to keep on practicing and try to keep those traditions alive and those resources. I mean, we're First Nations people. We got to work on the management and, the conservation part, but we also got to defend what is close to us.
Well, it's tentatively on the agenda and probably will be discussed. The Iroquois Caucus next Tuesday and Wednesday.
27th, 28th of June.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob.
All right.
All right. And finally, we have one more added special surprise for you here. And Chief Kenneth McComber joins us. And Kenneth, a couple of weeks ago, actually last week, this being the 15th, we saw the removal of an iconic Four Corners, something that everybody has noticed and seen in Kahnawake, right across from the Catholic Church. It's been there for, 75, 80 years or so. It got taken down, and a few people were asking about that. So what can you tell us?
Well, this has been going on for the past few years. People have been talking about it, and I think the final thing was this winter when it was struck, and it did a lot of damage to it. And we checked it, and it was very, very corroded all over the place. It didn't look like it could be repaired. So the decision was made based on safety to have it removed, after also a number of complaints from people in the community to do something with it. And even in the morning when the workers went there to lift the platform, it came down right away. So it was a safety hazard, had it come down. So it's down. It was very, very fast. But also, too, right now we've relocated the stone that was there. So with the possibility of putting a plaque there to identify what was in that location. And also some ideas are coming up, like a gazebo, some park benches. But for now, we just want to keep it clean for now. But it was all based on safety. And I know we all grew up with it. We remember it.
Yeah, and of course I went with you to see it, and it was corroded, and it's a wonder actually if a group of people went up there to have a picture taken or something.
It could have come down.
It could have been a disaster, and it's just noteworthy as well that was our, today the Mohawk Council has its communications department just down the street. That was sort of Kahnawake's first communications center, because that's where speeches were made and news given after church in the 30s, 40s, into the 50s, and even maybe part of the early 60s.
That's right. Andrew Little was the last one to do a platform speech from there. And I remember as kids, we all, as soon as we come out of church, we would go across the street and so we got another sermon. So anyway, but that was it. We all grew up with it, playing tag and playing four corners. We all, was part of us, but it was an important place because there was no communication. There was no TV, tower, whatever you have today. So people would come out and they would explain. This was passed on to me, like wherever they were, their travels, and explain how to get there, where the work was, and what news was going on. And that was a gathering place for the community. And so that became it until later on when these other things came in with the phone, TV, and newspapers, and what we have today. So it was a time, but we're still going to have something there in the near future. But we're just right now, just be safe.
All right. Well, thanks, Kenneth.
Okay.
All right, so there's our update. Thank you, Bill, for helping us out here, and thank you for watching. By the way, the artwork on the Mercier Bridge, there was a piece we did on KTV a little while back when they announced the winners, the 3 local people who presented artwork and were selected for the Mercier Bridge. So get up there and enjoy it. They're by our own people, and they're up there for the 150th anniversary of Canada. I know not everybody in Kahnawake celebrates the event, but it's certainly a commemoration of our own local artists here who did a brilliant job of, if you've seen it, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time on our next political update here from the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake.
One quick thing is that council is working on a means to the end of this headache for us on the Mikinak cards.
All right.
I had to add that.
All right, good stuff.